Hello, and welcome to my presentation on human geography. Within this presentation, we will cover what is human geography, the history of human geography, what do human geographers study, fields of human geography, what can we learn from human geography, and jobs within the human geography job market. We will lead it off with what is human geography. Human geography is defined as the study of interrelationships between people, place, and environment, and how these vary spatially and temporally across and between locations. Human geography is more concentrated on the social sciences and humanities, leaning towards philosophy rather than methods and ideologies that are commonly attributed to that of physical geography. Humans have always named, categorized, assigned, and sanctified place in a multitude of different ways. We have done this as individuals, as groups, and as societies, coinciding with different sets of ideas and which produce different ways of thinking and acting in the world. In other words, cultures. These cultures are not static as they change, overlap, and interact with one another simultaneously on different spatial and temporal planes. This is a very clean and elementary definition of human geography, and as we dig deeper, we will uncover more about this branch of geography. Now, moving on to the history of human geography. The history of human geography began as early as humans began shaping and interacting with their environment. The subject diversified as complex societies began to interact with travelers, exchanging goods and services unavailable to other locales. As cultures began to intermix, new methods emerged as a result. Over the years, multiple notable human geographers have contributed to the geographic community in positive and sometimes controversial ways. The first of these geographers we'll take a look at is Ellen Churchill Semple. She was the first female president of the Association of American Geographers. She contributed significantly to the early development of geography within the United States, particularly human geography. She is most closely associated with anthropogeography and environmentalism, as well as the debate concerning environmental determinism. Semple taught at the University of Chicago, and while they released two books, American History and Its Geographic Conditions and Influences of Geographic Environment, and these were widely used as textbooks for students of geography and history in the United States at the start of the 20th century. She was also a founding member of the Association of American Geographers, and as mentioned before, she was the first female president, being elected in 1921. She remains one of only 6 women to ever hold that office since the organization was founded back in 1904. The second of these geographers that we'll look at is Yifu Tuan, a Chinese born American geographer. He was one of the key figures in human geography and arguably the most important originator of humanistic geography. Tuan's work was seen as more narrative and descriptive than philosophical. He replaced spirituality with rationalism and promoted human beings as wholly self directed. He once insisted that he saw humanist geography as a way to reveal how geographical activities and phenomena reveal the quality of human awareness and to show human experience in its ambiguity, ambivalence, and complexity. To do so requires empathy, and for this he seeks assistance from literature, the arts, history, biography, social science, philosophy, and theology. The final geographer we'll look at is Paul Vidal de la Blache. He was a French geographer, and he's considered the founder of modern French geography as well as the French School of Geopolitics. Some modern geographers, who view geography as the science, the social dimension of space, have criticized Vidal's geography as he defines it as the natural science of lifeways. Vidal's ideas made nature the external force that drove societies. The reasoning that made nature the driving force for societies was only tenable in regard to rural and seemingly static societies. Vidal avoided looking at industrialization, colonialism, and urbanization. As Vidalian geography took over France, Many urban thinkers had no place in France until the 1950s, which explains why many geographers left France to pursue careers in the United States. Now we're moving on to the fields of human geography. We're going to start with cultural geography. Um, Cultural geography can find its source back in the 1920s with Carl Sauer at the University of California, Berkeley. Um, the early forms of cultural geography involved the study of farming practices, religion, life patterns, architectural styles, marital culture, and art. Various things that separate cultures from one another. It didn't really pick up steam until the 1980s, however, when it started to move away from the Berkeley School into other universities and colleges across the world, and it found strong interests in schools that thrived in post-colonialism, humanism, feminism, and postmodernism studies. Next is political geography. It's the geography concerned with politics, which includes the status and structure of states, forms of government, local, regional, international organizations, geography of war, patterns of war, gerrymandering are all examples of political geography. Um, Following that, we got economic geography, study of international flows of money, compiling data on life expectancy, education, and things like that that relate back to economic growth or downturn. Um, Looking at how international networks of capital have sway and how that sway impacts the way the world looks, the way the world progresses, the way the citizens on the planet work. Next, we have philosophical geography. It's highly conceptual, theoretical. Um, it tackles mainly the issue of sense of place. Um, really talks about how different places around the world are unique in and of themselves, and trying to understand how they get there. Trying to understand the core of what geography is. Um, Spirit of place, those type of things, trying to understand the inner workings of how people around the world and how individuals conceptualize what geography is on a deeper level. Following that, we're going to have historical geography, which is going to be how geography has changed over time. Um, it's is a study of natural history, studying um, everything that has happened from the movement of the continents to the evolution of organisms that have lived on them. Um, it encompasses all forms, everything, all the other forms of geography, but in a past tense. Um, it's a lot of things like how landscapes, how they look the way they do, why do they look the way they do, why are certain landforms, landmarks at the location that they're at and not in others, those type of things would be historical geography. Following that, we have urban geography, um, which is really going to be leading to urban planning, the land use of cities, a lot of concepts like the 15-minute cities, trying to satisfy living space within urban areas, um, trying to fulfill efficient social functions, living, working, learning, recreation, um, understand transportation patterns to alleviate congestion. A lot of those type of things would be urban geography. So then moving on, really as a recap, what human geographers study is going to be a lot of demographics, understanding social makeups, social transitions, looking at uh, race makeup, sex makeup, gender makeup, um, age range, those type of things. A lot of social sciences. Um, for the historical side, historical human geography, a lot of history, religious studies, theology can also go along with the demographics and politics as well. All of these really falling under the umbrella of demographics when attributing that to a place. Um, and those type of things um, encapsulate the human experience on Earth, thus encapsulating what human geographers look with in relation to the land that the human species, the Homo sapiens species, inhabit. So, with that being said, what can we learn from human geography? Well, it allows us to understand the connections that events involving humans in the past have on the present, as well as the effect it has on the trajectory of the future. Human geography allows us to see and map the human experience on the Earth relative to physical geography's focus on land properties. In every one of its forms, human geography is a great tool for solving the biggest problems that face our world and society. And to understand climate change and mutual cultural understanding, connecting the earth and all the cities, planning our cities, developing our cities, reducing the impact of natural disasters, reducing the occurrences of war. All of these are reasons to um, study human geography, to learn from human geography, and to continue to evolve the subject of human geography to better fit the future, as with all forms of geography. All right, and lastly, we're going to head into the jobs within human geography. A great resource for this to look for these jobs is the American Association of Geographers. Um, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to be found within this branch of geography. We're going to start with agriculture. Agricultural planner is a job within agriculture, communications, public diplomacy officer, foreign services officer. With consulting, accredited land consultant, policy consultant, travel consultant, and historical consultant. With culture to cultural management, heritage planner, festival organizer, community cultural officer, cultural and communications mediator, development, international development specialist, urban and regional development specialist, housing specialist, and community development planner. With demography, demographic analyst, economics. You got commercial real estate economists, economic development officer, um, editing and writing. Writer, author, editor, correspondent, education, um, teachers, professors, environmental jobs, environmental assessment analyst. With finance, you're going to get market analysis, location analysis. With planning, um, as with most geographers, you're going to get the most um, opportunities because that's very specified to our geography major. Transportation manager, planning analyst, city and regional planning specialist, environmental restoration planner, historic preservation planner, planning advisor, policy and research analyst, political advocate. With real estate, an appraiser, an analyst within real estate, and tourism, tour guide, ecotourism specialist, convention and tourism specialist, travel consultant, recreation co-coordinator, and park ranger as well. This entire list is made available by Carleton University from Ottawa, Canada. It's a brochure And within this brochure, it gives you career prospects, employers that they've had, um, as well as some sample careers, including city and regional planning specialists, historical consultant, and convention and tourism specialist, which gives good insight into what those jobs entail. And also some other resources, including AAG and the Canadian Association of Geographers, if looking out of the United States is an option for you.